What's up? This is Ben from shouldigetit.com, and right now we are in Shane's Ford Focus RS. He's going to be providing the first-person view for you guys, so that's why he has the GoPro attached to his face. And I'm going to let Shane talk a little bit more about the car and the process.
Okay, so I started hearing about the car when they first introduced it. Was definitely interested, as I've always been kind of an all-wheel drive type of person. At the time, I had a 2001 Miata that I was tracking and doing illegal things in. And once I kept seeing videos of it in Europe, I got pretty excited about the car, which eventually got me to the point where I thought I was ready to buy it. So I went to the San Jose Auto Show sometime in January. And
2015, right?
No, it was this year.
Oh, okay.
I saw it in 2016. And I was at the show, and I saw the Ford section. I was joking with my dad that they might actually have one at the show. I didn't think they would because I thought they weren't going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
And I saw an ST Fiesta and a Focus. So I was like, oh, okay, well, they're not going to have the RS. I'm walking up, I'm like, oh, it's another Focus ST. And then I look at the front end, and I freak out and realize that it's the Focus RS. So stared at that for about 30 minutes, decided that was the only thing I really wanted to look at the show.
Yeah.
And from then I was like, you know what, Dad, it's time that we go pre-order it. So I went straight to Capital Ford from the auto show, picked up the car, did the pre-order, and then the waiting game began. Took until about early to mid-June for them to finally have the car here for me. The lucky thing was that I bought the most basic version you can buy, which had the least amount of issues when they were making the car. There were issues with like the heated steering wheel, the moonroof, the sunroof, and everything. I hate heated seats, so I didn't get that either. Car got here a month earlier than I was expecting. I had sold the Miata already, trying to stay out of trouble. Bought a Mazda 3 that was more trouble than the Mazda Miata was. And then I sold that a couple weeks after I got the RS finally, and here we are.
Nice. All right, so right now I'm going to ask you some questions that are very critical, and then after that we'll go through some Facebook questions. So first question, what's the exhaust sound like, and do you enjoy it?
The exhaust is pretty quiet in my opinion, compared to the Miata especially. It's quieter than most Evos that my friends have, definitely quieter than Subarus. I really like the sound though. The pops are very sharp, not the usual muffled pops. More race car sounds in my opinion.
Yeah.
Besides that, I really like it. I might change it eventually, but it's not high on my list of things to do to the car.
Okay. So there were no other cars that you were thinking about when you were buying the RS? If you were back like in the car buying game, before, like, let's say you canceled your order for whatever reason, would you go through with your order of the RS, or would you get something else in the same price?
Now I would definitely stick with the RS. While I was waiting for the car, I was fighting off buying a Focus ST. That was definitely tough. I'm glad I didn't buy it though.
Yeah, good choice. All right, why'd you pick this color and not like the race blue?
I felt like the blue was going to be really overdone, just like the Subarus have the World Rally blue, and I really didn't want to look like everyone else. Plus the black looked like it would get dirty really easily, and the white was pretty, but still I didn't want to deal with cleaning it every week.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, do 5 people actually fit in here, and how much luggage can you fit in the back?
I took 5 people to a country concert last week. It definitely fits 5 people.
Okay, good. And then we tested this earlier. It fits one whole Shane into the trunk.
It's a 6'3", 200-pound man.
Yeah, so it's definitely got some trunk space. The interior feels pretty good for being a Ford. I think it's pretty good in general, just for any car. It's good. Do you think it could be nicer at all? Does anything squeak or rattle or annoy you?
The only squeak that there is really is the seatbelt adjuster, and it's right by your ear, but it's not too noticeable for the most part. Every once in a while I'll like catch myself listening to it, and I just turn up the music and it's gone. So
that's good. All right, does it get 22 miles to the gallon? And more importantly, how many miles per gallon do you get?
If I drove like a grandmother, it would definitely get 22 miles per gallon. My dad had it for a weekend, and he got it up to 25 miles a gallon, which was very impressive. I have never gotten more than 20,
Okay.
maybe 22.
And what's the lowest you've got?
The second tank I had with it, I think I got maybe like 16 and a half. Because
Wow.
yeah, it came out to like 210 miles to the tank. It was not much, which worried me, but I got over it.
Yeah. Was there a break-in period? Before I told you about?
There was no designated break-in period. They all said 3,000 miles is a good idea. I didn't launch the car until last week, and I was around like 1,800 miles. So nothing, I mean, I didn't break anything, so
That's good.
it looks like it's okay.
Okay. What do you think of the entertainment system / like my Ford controls and systems, other than the key which locked us out?
Yeah, we locked ourselves out of 80 miles an hour plus.
Yeah. Do you want to say how we got locked in that?
So for this video, I was trying to figure out if there was a way to start the car in sport mode so we could get a nice start clip of the exhaust. And I assumed that my key would be some sort of personalized key where you can pick the mode you start in. It's not. It basically is parental controls for your car. And I tried to set it up, and it locked us out of sport mode, and it locked us out of going over 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's not fun. Okay. But otherwise, the entertainment system's really good. You have this touchscreen right here that's really responsive. It has voice controls and a whole bunch of stuff, and HD radio from Sirius, right?
Yeah, for the next, like,
That's good.
couple months.
Cool. All right, 3, holy shit, I love the Focus RS because of this thing.
Powering out of a turn is definitely one of my favorite things. It doesn't feel like anything I've ever driven. It definitely, it doesn't slide. I've heard the tires squeal once, and it was still going exactly where I wanted to. I just kept putting my foot down.
Yeah.
Second one, the launches are pretty fun. I'm still getting used to it because I've never driven an all-wheel drive car that was manual. So the launches are really exciting. And then the third thing is honestly the brakes. The brakes on this thing are the best brakes I've ever felt, and I'm not really worried about going into a turn going 100 because I know I can get to 60 in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, the brakes are definitely crazy sharp, unlike the Mini.
Yeah.
Which is one of the annoying things. Speaking of which, what are a few annoying things on this car?
Well, starting with the My Key, I definitely wish that you have to go and get the admin key, which is stupid because you shouldn't be able to set the non-admin key without having the admin key, but you can. So we had to drive 20 minutes back to my house just to get that to reset the car. Another thing is the not being able to start in sport mode is definitely annoying.
Cup holders?
Cup holders, yeah, it comes with these little things that stick in there in case you have a tiny cup, but we're in America and we don't use tiny cups, so no need for that either.
And then what about rattles we talked about, brake dust?
Oh yeah, big brakes are great, but the wheels get covered in dust within a matter of like a week. I'm gonna start rinsing them off like once a week just to get rid of it so it doesn't get caked on too much.
Yeah. Cool. All right, if money wasn't an issue, what would you mod on the car?
I would definitely give it more power, but that's just anytime you're into cars, you want more power. It has 310 horsepower, the wheels about what other people have gotten off their dynos. I would tint the windows, but I don't want to deal with tickets, mud flaps, exhaust. I think that's about it for mods. There's not really much I really want to do to it. It's pretty perfect the way it comes.
That's good. All right, daily driver wise, I know this is, so you're on the car right now,
Yeah.
right? Would you get this and a daily, or this and another car, or just have this as your daily?
I mean, if money wasn't an issue, I would just buy a 5.0 Mustang as well and just have both, but this thing's a fine daily and fun night car when I want it to be.
That's good. Okay. So the big question is, should I get it? Should they get it? So for people watching this, they're thinking about getting an RS. Is there any reason not to?
No, it's faster than everything except for the Audis, pretty much, in my opinion. It's faster than the SCIs. I raced one leaving Tahoe on the mountain freeway. That was fun. And it's faster than most Evos, but if they're automatic, they will pull on you.
Yeah. All right. So now we're on to Facebook questions. Thank you guys for submitting these. Jacob asks, what is the numerical count of miles per gallon?
So I was trying to calculate this while getting gas because I needed to fill up right before this video. I would say per gallon I get a solid 5 or so, depending on how playful I am. Usually the smiles though are a laugh, because I have way too much fun in this car every time I drive it.
Again.
Yeah.
Okay. Does the drift mode work?
Drift mode, I have not tried yet. I might go try it in the parking lot we're driving to right now. So I'll keep you guys posted on that one. I've seen videos of people using it, and that's what made me really want to do it.
Yeah. Ben Y asks, does the 350 horsepower really feel as advertised?
It feels really, really fast, but it also, when I'll be going onto a freeway and just on the junction wrap, I'll be going like 110, and I'll look down and be like, oh, did not realize I was going that fast. So it's very comfortable at high speeds. I'm not really too worried about driving it over 100.
Okay. Harrison says, what's the longest duration you can make the exhaust pop in sport mode, aka the engineered backfire?
Longest? So as in how many pops per rev, or
like can you just get it to just like keep popping? Like you just keep driving at high revs and just like pop.
Yeah, it pretty much popped. When it's in sport mode, it'll pop every time I let off the gas and every time I shift.
Alright, on to Franz, who asks, is it overhyped?
I don't think so. I'm a Ford fanboy, so I'm a little bit biased, but I also, there was other cars on my mind at the moment that I got it, but once I really started looking at reviews and everything, I decided that this was definitely going to be the best option for me. So I wouldn't say it's overhyped.
Alright, that's good. Brett says, is it any quicker than a Subaru Sti?
100%. It is way faster than an STI.
Okay.
It's got 50 horsepower on it also, which is always nice to brag about.
Definitely. Dan Fortner is saying the hot button item is drift mode, as mainstream media and auto journalists find it controversial, and also show a connection with the enthusiast community. So drift mode we might take a look at later. And Justin Chan says, how's it compared to the Focus ST?
It definitely has a lot more power than the ST. It sounds different. I would say it handles better. I think it's a little bit heavier. Are you sure? I haven't really looked too much into the ST since I bought this. Is it left or right?
Yeah, left. Okay. Isaac asks, how much is it?
Once I'm done... Oh, this person doesn't want to go yet. Once I'm done paying it off, it's going to be around $43,000. I went to a dealer that had the lowest markup, which was $3,000. My model was, I think, like 37 before taxes and markups and fees and everything.
Cool. Alright, and then Skylar says, what's the handling like in various modes? Is it neutral, oversteer, understeer? And how does the handling change when you press the button? Normal mode, the steering wheel is a lot lighter. It's not as responsive. It's still pretty nice. Like when we were locked out, I drove up the road and it was still pretty fun. Throttle response is a little bit less. As for oversteer and understeer, I've only understeered once, and it was very slight for how hard I thought I was pushing it. My friend was behind me and said it looked awesome, so I don't think it's too bad. They do a really good job with the torque vectoring, and you can't really tell that it's all-wheel drive. It definitely feels a little bit like a rear wheel when it's pushing off, but you don't have as much oversteer compared to an all-wheel drive car. Alright, one interesting thing that I noticed is that this is the boost gauge right here in the middle, and if you guys watch it, it stays at 0 for a good amount of time unless you're really putting the power down, or like when you downshift and the revs go up, then the boost starts kicking in around 15 psi.
Yeah, it doesn't like to go above 15, except for when Ego Boost is on, which is like the first 10 seconds of acceleration. Yeah, I didn't even notice the boost gauge until a couple days later. I looked over and I was like, oh, there it is.
So right now we've got the car in sport mode and we're going to have a little bit of fun. There's the pops. Which isn't bad, but you can definitely hear
about the torque vectoring though, my dad and I were noticing is if the wheel's turning a little bit, but you're not necessarily turning very hard, it feels like the car pulls.
Yeah.
So the only thing is you really have to pay attention to like if the car's pulling one way or the other.
Yeah.
But it's not really trackable, like you can't figure it out. I haven't had enough drive time with it, at least in like harder settings, to really figure out why it doesn't, how to counteract it.
What do you think of the shifter?
I really like the shifter. It's very quiet, and I kind of like the sound when the music's off and everything.
Yeah.
It's definitely nice having 6 gears instead of 5 also.
Are the throws short?
Yeah, they're definitely short.